Very powerful indeed, and there is no doubt, ma'am, that the government has taken very many progressive measures with regard to women, whether it is 6 months maternity leave or even passing of the Women's Reservation Bill that happened recently. But may I ask you a personal question? Because at the start I said, you are an icon, a role model for many around this country. Your personal journey has been marked by multiple milestones and firsts. You made a very successful transition from entertainment to politics. I think it would be safe to assume that there would have been many challenges along the way. Since we are talking about Naari Shakti, and frankly, you are an embodiment of that, I want to ask you, how did you manage to smash the proverbial glass ceiling and storm those male bastions?
So firstly, the very idea of a glass ceiling is an American one. It is not a global south concept at all. And I say this vehemently for 2-3 issues. When the US had this whole feminist movement and spoke about the glass ceiling that needs to be broken, if you look at it anthropologically and from a perspective of social science, India had already had milestones with regards to women and their status in society. Point in case, if you're somebody who's a fiend for research, pick up the Arthashastra. Now in India, we passed the Prevention of Sexual Harassment at Workplace Bill in the year 2013. But the Arthashastra that was written thousands of years ago, in fact, has a documented evidence of what the administrator or the rulers should do if a woman at work is harassed, and especially by a public official. The challenge is that you never highlighted these aspects because these aspects never found political value. And that is when Prime Minister Modi speaks about Vikas and Virasat, that these issues become central. You have in your channel somebody who's very erudite and again, somebody who can give you a historical context of what Bharat is. Mr. Hemant Sharma is there sitting right on the front seat. He can explain to you, Chandragupta Maurya, his army had women fighting. You are the only nation that can historically evidence that in your fight for independence, you had a female ruler called Lakshmi Bai who went to war on a horse, tied her child to her back and raised arms against the British. Can you find any woman in battle with her baby tied to her back in any other war of independence anywhere in the world? You won't find it. So when Prime Minister Modi says Virasat bhi, Vikas bhi, that is the one aspect I'd like to highlight. The second thing is that we do a great disservice to women when we keep them confined only to issues of women. We never ask men, what are you doing for men? And you're the embodiment of everything a man should be. We try and put the woman on that pedestal and say, oh, you are great and you are the inspiration. Why do we never have conversations about men being inspirations for other men as though we are supposed to carry the burden only of our gender? So the only way that you can complement women and their capacities is to ensure that you go beyond the pedestal talk and engage them on issues of why, I still remember budget day and every woman would be asked, "Aapka kitchen kaise impact hua hai?" As though the budget for defense doesn't matter for her. As though the infrastructural output of the government and outcomes does not matter to her. So this is the government that has ensured that even when you look at gender budgeting across the government's outlays, we have seen an increment of 239% in how the government spends money across all sectors, including infrastructure, and then also computes in it the value for women. So I think we have to now shift the conversation. And that's why I think one of the most tectonic shifts in narrative is when Prime Minister says we need to now talk about women-led development. Because for too long we've been saying, Mahilaon ka vikas kar do, as though, I'm waiting for a handout. Yeah. So what Prime Minister Modi has done is say that if you want to develop as a nation, you can't afford to leave the women behind. Yeah. That is a much better conversation.